today's session. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon once again, everyone, and thank you so much for making our time this Sunday to be part of the October series of my HR Storybook Live. Today, we have an interesting topic, emotional intelligence for the workplace and navigating office politics. This is one topic that I personally am really excited about. I'm looking forward to learn. I would like to talk a bit about my HR storybook. So what is it all about and what are we here to do? Basically, we're here to have some career conversations, more around like career gists, because the research has shown that the best form of learning is through storytelling. And with storytelling, we are here to hear from people's life experiences, which is relatable, which is authentic. And in our life journey and our life experiences, in it, there we find success principles that once you apply in your own way, design your own way, will definitely work for you. It's also all about us leveraging on the experiences of other people so that we are wiser, we are smarter, and we are also able to navigate our career journey. No PowerPoint presentation, we are just here to learn and to also share experiences and ask questions, because in learning from other people's experience, you also shorten your own journey, and you're smarter and you're wiser when you encounter experiences that other people had gone through, and from there you take their own wisdom to help you navigate your own journey faster. On that note, welcome once again, everyone. We'll just go right into today's session. But before I start, I'd like to read out the profile of our guest speaker, Toyin Oshinaike. She's someone that I call Toyenye. I mean, she is an amazing soul. So Toyin Oshinaike is a seasoned HR practitioner with a career spanning over 18 years that cuts across the finance and the HR functions within the oil and gas, FMCG, transportation, fabrication, heavy equipment, and power generation industries. I mean, from her industry exposure, we can tell that Toyin has been in some industries where politics in those areas might have been quite huge. We would like to hear from her how she was able to navigate. Oluwatoyin started her career in Owando PLC, then Unipetro Nigeria PLC, as a payroll officer in the finance department in 2001, and subsequently as a financial analyst before vibing into human resources as the training and manpower development officer in 2004. This also means that Toyin has had to transition from finance to HR. I would like to hear about that and how. Did she play politics to be able to transition, or it just happened? Please just sit back. Toyin will tell us how that also happened. She later moved to British America Tobacco Nigeria in late 2005, where she worked in various supervisory roles in the Human Resources Department before joining Niger Dock Nigeria PLC. Before joining Niger Dock Nigeria PLC in 2010 as the assistant head of human resources, and gradually rising to become the head of human resources team. She has also worked with HRG Nigeria, a business travel management limited organization, as a human resources and admin manager before joining Mantrack Nigeria Limited in 2017 as the country human resources manager, a role she occupies till date. In her role with Mantrack, she also serves as the HR coordinator for the West African cluster within the group team. So this also means that Toyin equally has global experience even outside of HR. We would also like to hear a perspective if politics in Nigeria is different from politics outside. Toyin will let us know. She is a determined and focused go-getter with very strong interpersonal skills and a knack for excellence in her delivery. I mean, the few moments or the few times that I've interacted with Toyin, I could tell that Toyin is a no-nonsense. Her values, her standards are clear and they are high. She's a no-nonsense. So let us know how, we equally would like to know how emotional intelligence has equally helped her in managing relationship, given that her standards are quite high, and how I should be able to work with people who might have not been able to measure up to our standards. I mean, we have a whole lot to hear from Toyin this afternoon. She has, over the years, made a professional impact on the various companies she's worked with. Oluwatoyin is a graduate of management and accounting from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. She also holds an MBA from the prestigious Lagos Business School, Pan-African University. She is a certified project management professional with PMI USA since 2012 and a certified global professional in human resources, GPHR USA. In her spare time, Toyin serves as a facilitator and her HR experts, providing support and advice on various HR-related activities in her desire to give back and in fulfillment of her passion to impact lives. She enjoys mentoring young graduates and upcoming professionals, both within and outside HR. She is happily married and has 3 lovely children. So we are here again to learn under Toyin's mentorship. I mean, like we equally just heard from the reading of her profile, she loves mentoring. And one of the things that we do here on my HR Storybook Live, we call it speed mentoring, where mentors come and share from their wealth of wisdom for us to learn. So it's another time for Toyin to do what she loves to do passionately, which is mentoring. And on that note, Oluwatoyin, so please, can we get to know you more and tell us a bit about how your career all started? You've had to transition from finance to HR. Did you use politics in some way? Or you just grew to understand, okay, this politics thing, how is it? We would like to know how you transitioned from finance to HR first. And in any way, did you encounter politics, office politics at some point that you had to transition, or it just did happen? Over to you, Toyin. You're welcome. You're mute, Toyin, you're mute. Please unmute your mic.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Lara. And thank you for all these sweet, I just see that you are putting inside. I'm happy to be here. Another opportunity to share from my own experiences. And I'm happy you said it when you were talking. You said that, like I'm quick to tell people, don't think that you won't have your own experiences. You will. But what these things do for you is that you remember what somebody did during their own experience and you're able to apply it, and you're the better for it. So yes, we'll definitely go through it, because if you don't go through it, you still go back and go through it. So we all have our own experiences. Yes, and interestingly, I was telling my husband that Friday was the 20th anniversary of when I started working. Because I started working 2001, October 22nd. I started with Unipetrol.
Congratulations.
And it was still Unipetrol. That's when I started my career. So it's about 20 years filled with ups and downs, no regrets, but I've learned a lot. And because everything has added up to where I am today. Okay, so let's get going. The first thing I want us to remember, as I'm talking here is, because I need us to disabuse our minds about certain things. When we talk about office politics, I noticed that a lot of people, the first thing, I used to be there as well too, the first thought that comes to your mind is, it connotes something negative. Immediately, something, I don't play office politics, so I don't, That's the first thing that comes to your mind. And I've been there before. It's good to admit as well, so that we all learn from one another. I've been there before, because maybe it's office politics. I'm like, no. By nature, I am a very down-to-earth person. I say it as it is. So I think EI has come to play in my life as well, to learn that you have to apply some, wisdom when you say certain things. Because not just because you're trying to be smart, but because you also want to think of the effect on the other person, empathy as well. So I want us to first of all start by realizing that when you talk about office politics, it doesn't mean something negative, please. Let's get that out of our minds first as we start. And then another thing I also want to mention is that if you have never, ever undergone any course in EI or read a book on EI or read an article on EI, please, after this session today, please go and pick up something. Whether it's an article, if some people don't like reading, whether it's an article, short article, whether it's a video on YouTube that talks about EI, please take out time, no matter how little it is, to learn about EI, because you need it in all aspects of your life. Whether you're married, whether it's in relationships, whether it's at work, whether it's with your children, whether it's with your subordinates, whether it's with your peers, whether it's your direct boss, you need EI. It is very key. So I wanted to start by establishing those two major facts before we go on. Now, when we say politics, I also hear people talk about sponsor, official sponsor as well. Oh yes, they all work hand in hand. Because I like to paint a scenario of Nigeria is a very good, is a very good example. Can use Nigeria. You know how it is in politics, say in Nigeria. If you want to have a say in the game, you know that you must definitely have a sponsor. And your sponsor, as we say in Yoruba dialect, Obodo Nenumbe. That means that sponsor must be somebody that others reckon with. Let me take our minds back a bit. You remember very well that for Buhari to get there had to be some, meetings with Tinubu, and they had to make some agreements before before Buhari could get there. For you, think about it. If not that, they needed Tinubu, and they realized that they've tried all other, what's the word now? All other ways, or whatever, to get Buhari there. They've seen that the only way and the best way for them at that point in time was to go through Tinubu. So what did they do? They had to go through Tinubu. And for Tinubu too, a game changer, sat down and negotiated certain things with them. Now, the tables have turned, things have happened. Let's not go down that, but I just wanted you to remember that story very well. It's the same with the office setting as well. I remember one of my very first encounter was when I was in Unipetrol then. And I'm going to be, when I'm talking also, I'll be dropping EI as well, where it came to play as well. And I remember that we're meant to have a training in computer. They were taking on some things, whether Microsoft or something, I can't remember. And they sent the invite to me. I was in finance, somebody in HR sent it to me. So when he sent it, the date he put on the train, on the invite, was on a Sunday, And I'm very quite particular about details. Lara mentioned it, that's me. So I wanted to be sure. If it was on a Sunday, not a problem, I'll just make out time for you, but I needed to be sure. So I wrote back and said, the date in the invite is falls on a Sunday. Are we meant to come in on Sunday? Just to be sure. And guess what? The person replies and says something along the line of course, you should know that was a mistake, blah, 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 as in, and me, my usual way then, not now, better now, but then, you give it to me, I give it to you. Is it English language? I will even give it to you, even though you will know what I'm saying, but you can't tell anybody that was rude to you, because it was a senior person that I just started out. So I typed my email, I'd done it. So I don't know what, I was so upset. So I think my supervisor then noticed I was upset. He was like, Troy, what's wrong? I said, imagine, is this guy in HR? Blah, 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 blah. And I now told him, I think, your supervisor knows you very well. He just came behind me, said, Tony, let me see that email before you send it. He now read the email. He said, oh, I said, but I wasn't rude to him. He said, yes, but your intent was very clear. No, don't send this. And I looked at him, I said, it's because of you. I'd have sent it, what will happen? And I'm like that, I'll be like, the worst you can do is get upset when you tell me to leave, I'll get another job. That is me. That kind of mentality. So he just said, no, Tony, don't send it. Tony, don't send it. And then this person, one day we're about to enter into the lift going for lunch. It was a manager in HR. And we were about to go into, I was just an officer that I just started my career, my first year in. We were together about to enter the lift. I know he was like, I greeted the person with him. I greeted him as well. I don't send, I moved on. He was reluctant to answer. But maybe he just felt that if a younger person can, move on, I too should be able to move on. But you know the funny thing, I eventually moved to HR and it was still in HR when I moved to it. I moved to HR as an officer, and he was still there as a manager. Although he left eventually, not long after I joined, but he was a manager. So imagine if we didn't have that incident where we greeted one another and just moved on. Oh, you could have made my life.
Payback time. We'll have a payback time for you.
Exactly. So but when I think back, I've shared it before. I've noticed that I moved gradually from the point of where, when people upset you and just want to vent, I will write, I will send, and people will be like, Tony. I moved from that point to where I will write, I'll type it out, but I won't send it. Then I go back to it later, I'm like, how could you have written this? Then it got to the point where I don't even type like that anymore. Immediately you write to me in the way I feel is rude, I've now gotten to the point, it takes maturity and experience. I've gotten to the point where I'll just go, hello, good afternoon, how's your day? I hope it's going on well. If you need, this is actually what I meant, but if you still need some more clarification, do not hesitate to reach me. I could even call you, I could spend like 10 minutes with you and all that, but I didn't start that way, especially with someone that's just washed you down the email, So that's where EI comes in. Now, let's talk more about office politics. I intentionally made that example of Buhari and Tinubu, because you see that in the office setting, there are certain people that, how would I put this, that dictate what happens. They have a say in what happens within the organization, whether you like it or not. Every organization has them. Now, one of the places I've worked, I remember there's a particular boss that a couple of us worked with in HR. He does his work so well, and he's very, very intelligent and knowledgeable, to the extent where when they're having talent review meetings, if he recommends you for a promotion, it's hard for anybody to fault it. So it's always a nice feeling to have him rooting for you in a meeting. If I'm really to hear that, oh, is this person that puts Tony's name or somebody's name down, everybody's like, don't worry, she'll get the promotion. Not only will she get the promotion, most like that person will be considered a high potential, an employee with high potentials. So you would want that kind of person, you want to be on your side. Now, what office politics also does is, what it entails is you having a good relationship with everybody, regardless of who it is, having a good relationship with everybody. Because when the doors are closed, you don't know who will be speaking up for you. I tell people that I've been in, you have talent review meetings, and your boss is putting you up for a promotion, and somebody is like, oh, let's see the face, because they always ensure that the picture of everybody on the organogram of that department is also included on the slides. And it's intentional, so that somebody is not like, who's Tony? It's like, oh, is that Tony? No, I don't think she's ready for a promotion yet. I had this incident, blah, blah, blah with her. And we'll be tired if that person is somebody that has a say in what happens within the company. That means that promotion is gone. Now, what you also need to learn is that when you want to play politics, I would like to use the example of Nigeria so that it can be relatable to a lot of us. They will tell you that, are you a member of the party? That the party, the politics is played from the grassroots. Are you a member of the party? Do you have a card? Are you a card-carrying member? That is what gives you the audience at all, if any. So if you are within the company, whether you like it or not, it's all about politics. So if you say, I don't want to play office politics, you are playing it one way or the other, knowingly or unknowingly. So why don't you play it knowingly with wisdom and let it work to your advantage? That's why I started by saying, don't have negative mindset about office politics. It happens. Every office, please listen to me today, every office have their own politics and they have the way they play it. So once you have that at the back of your mind, begin to work in such a way that you're working consciously to ensuring that that politics works for you. Now, I have to admit as well, some people play it in a very, very, very negative way. That at times some people get their fingers burnt, or at times it affects some people's career, and it might affect it in fact, for you to recover, it might take a while. Yes, I have to admit that. But one thing I always tell people is, which is what I have experienced, once office politics is being played to the point where it's no longer, in line with your values and beliefs as a person, it's time to tell yourself, do I want to continue with this? Can I do this? Or it's better you take a walk. Now, I tell people that I've moved around a bit, not by virtue of, not a conscious move on my part, but that's how events have played out in my life. And I quickly add that I have no regrets at all, none whatsoever, because I feel that all of them have played out for a purpose. But you see, I've been in situations where I've told myself, I can't do this. This is not me, Tony. This is just not you. I can't do it. So what I started doing was, as we usually say, I started looking out for my plan B. In fact, at times I resigned my first resignation was into nothing. I was at home. A lot of people couldn't understand it. From a company where a lot of people were like, oh, why did you leave? Blah, 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 and all that. I remember when I left the first one, my mother-in-law was asking my husband, why did she do that? She was in a good place, blah, 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 and all that. But it's only you that would understand what you're going through and the decision you're making. But I told myself that I value where I like to work in a place where I'm valued. Every place I've worked in, I must add value. I must be, if you call Twain must be somebody that they can say, oh yes, she added value to us. That is for me. You must make an impact. Whatever you do, I tell my kids, whatever you do, you must have the spirit of excellence. Do it well so that nobody faults it. And if they do, it's for you to take a lesson from it. So I've had to resign into nothing. And I stayed back at home because I told myself, if this company could treat me in this way, then what happens down the line? At times, they play the politics to the point, oh, you're very good, you're the most qualified in the team, but by virtue of this, there's no vacancy or blah. You should come up with all sorts of excuses. And I told myself at that point in time, I've heard these excuses for so long. I think it's time for me to move on. And I moved on into nothing. That was the first time. The second time, I worked in a place where, was I won't say culture shock for me, but because by then I had done a bit of, parastatal, government parastatal, so I had a feel of, how politics is being played there. But I worked in a place where I remember one of the places I worked and you're having meetings and the boss says, you don't fucking talk to me like that. I'm like, excuse me? And everybody in the team is, cutting and saying, Tony, don't react. Tony, don't react. And I go out and I'm like, why? What's happened? What's that? So that's how, when he's upset and all that, I'm like, what? That happened the first time. The second time we're having an interview with somebody and I'm hearing voices in the background. What the fuck is wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. And here's the MD CEO shouting on a junior staff. In fact, I looked at the guy we were interviewing and I'm like, child. We finished with the interview and I go and I'm like, you don't do that. You don't do that. That, oh no, when I'm upset, blah, 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 or you need something and his MD is not in the mood. Don't open his door, he's not in the mood. Don't knock on his door, he's not in the mood. It happened first, second time, I'm like, Tony, this can't work. So what did I do again? I resigned. And I was at home for a long time. In fact, I was pregnant with my last child then, and I was at home for over a year, before I went back. I think, and another thing that it does is, I think the trauma from it as well to make me quite, if I go for an interview, I'm already sizing up the environment and the place and thinking, Tony, do you want to go through that again? That kind of thing. But eventually, I got another job and, life goes. And this time around, I went back into another one, man. But this time around, I was the better for it because I was wiser and I knew how to play the game. I played the game very well till it was time to move on again. Oh, yes, I played it very well. So one thing I'll tell you is that their office politics, it's a good thing, but some people play it in a negative way. So when it gets to that point where it begins to affect you, your values, your beliefs, your psyche, it's beginning to affect you in negative ways, I know that you can't continue. please, by all means, take a walk. Take a walk. Take a walk, because eventually, if you're not careful, if you're not somebody that is resilient, it might take a while for you to recover from the effects of that particular, of the effects of the, that negative office politics. Now, to some people, it's quite hard to play it. I will tell you why. One of the places I worked, I'm like, I come in the morning, I greet everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning, and I go to my seat. I believe that what I'm here for is to do what? Is to work. Just do my work, deliver and all that. But you see, one thing I also have to realize is that even if you are there to work and all that, it is all about relationships. We thrive on relationships. Office settings also is built on relationships, whether you like it or not. A lot of the friends I have today have been by virtue of the fact that we work together and we're still friends till date. I was talking to one of them 2 days ago. She's now in, I think, Ireland, and we were talking and she wanted to say something very deep. We haven't spoken in a while. We just chat hello here. And she was like, she's the one that started that to Tonyenya. She was the first person that used to come with Tonyenya. Said, Tonyenya, you are the one that will understand this thing. You are the one. I want to come. I need to offload. I said, shoot, let's talk. And we started talking. I met her in 2001 when I started working in Unipetrol. So relationships, even the office setting thrives on relationships. I've had instances where I did things in the wrong way and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I quickly had to call a friend in the office, a colleague that has become a friend, and this is what I did. Let's pray. This must not get out of hand, So it thrives on relationships. But if you're somebody that feels that you have to strike the balance, because if you're somebody like me, initially, I'm that kind of person that I didn't ask for love in the office. So I have enough love at home. I'll tell you, it's cooking me at home. Oh, mommy, oh, I have. So if I come to work, you don't like me, it doesn't matter. Let's do this work and get our money. That's what we are paid for. I'm serious. I have that mindset as well. But in the same vein, I'm also quick to realize the fact that in that same office, I've made lifelong friends. I've made friends that have impacted me in positive ways more than one that I can't even begin to recount or recollect. But you have to strike that balance so that you don't get all sentimental. I tell people, don't get sentimental. Yes, emotions, especially for those in HR, you have to, the emotions are there because that's what makes you begin to able to help employees that come to you. When you become sentimental, you begin to lose focus on the things that matter. But in the same vein, why I'm saying strike the balance, I'm taking out time to explain this because I know there are people that were like me too initially. Don't come to the office to look for love, please, because they will hurt you. When I say love, as in not love of office romance, so love of, okay, I like you, or work together, everything is yummy, yummy, but it's not all the time. There's some people you have to work with, but they don't like you. In fact, you come in through the door in the morning, they're like, oh, this person will come. Their desire is that you don't wake up and you don't come to work. So let's get that straight. But having said that, please realize that office also, your work in the office also thrives on relationship. Relationship is the oil, that helps that wheel of working within the office environment. Why am I saying this? When I come in the morning, like I said, I'll just come, oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. But there's some people that it comes to them naturally. When they come, oh, good morning, they'll go and meet their boss, good morning, how is it? They know the names of all the children of their line manager. Oh, how is so person? Oh, how is this? I remember that he started school yesterday. How was his first day at school? They'll catch up and all that, blah, 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 and all that. Some people know how to do it. Now, some people do it by virtue of, maybe high service, but my dear, it works for them. So if you realize, take it from me today, that your line manager is that kind of person that appreciates those kind of things, please do it. It doesn't cost you anything. Oh, good morning, Lara. How are you today? How is maybe your first daughter's name? How is she doing in school? Oh, I remember that the other day you took her to the hospital. Is she feeling better? How is she coping? Blah, blah. Just to keep in touch. Some line managers like it. So please do it. For me back then, I just felt was that, why am I prognosing? What's your business doing? Whether the child is better or not, or if we have a conversation and it gets to that point, I will ask. But not that I'll make out, take out the time and come to your office and go, oh, how is so? I remember that, blah, blah, blah. I just feel that you're intruding. I don't know. That's the way I feel. But you know what I've discovered? When I moved up the ladder, I tell people, one of my former direct reports is here. I tell her, I say, it's lonely up there. You know, when you're still within the team, you have this open office setting. You can throw banters, crack jokes, and all that. But when you become a senior manager, you're in your office. You come in the morning and the work starts. You hardly find somebody to say, hey, how now, blah, blah, and all that, except you have a close colleague at that senior management level that you can talk to, that you're good friends. So it's quite lonely over there. So a lot of those line managers, they desire that relationship. They might not come out to say it to you, but when you go out of your way to ask and do certain things for them, they appreciate it because it's a pyramid. So as you go up there, it's quite lonely. There are very few people on that cadre of senior management. You know, you might have your colleagues in the open office, like 10, 15 of you in finance department. But when you have the CFO, it's just the CFO in his office. So he appreciates when somebody comes in and is like, Toyin, how are you today? How is Toluwani? How was her first day in school? How was her ballet out in the last evening or yesterday? How did it go? They like it because it shows that this person, you know, has thought of me. They might not appreciate it when they're in the open office, just like one friend to another, one colleague to another. How now? You told you want to go yesterday. She went to, don't mind that, you know. But when somebody goes out of their way, comes into your office, greets you good morning, you know, how was this? How was that? It shows that that person has given a thought to you. So at that point in time, a lot of line managers appreciate it. So let me tell you, if that person goes into a meeting and they're talking about you, what do you think that person will say? That person would definitely be, oh yes, very thoughtful. And you know, in addition, if you're doing very well on the job, oh, that's all. Oh, and she's doing very well. And she's so considerate. You know, I talked to her and she has this, she's, you know, she's abreast with what's happening, blah, 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 and all that. And you're wondering, what did I do? I didn't do anything extra. I just said good morning and I asked after the family. That was all I did. So another thing that helps to play office politics well is know what those that have a say in the company know what makes them tick and do it. Do it. Do it from a place of understanding. Do it from a place of, you know, I'm explaining it now so that you understand. It's not that you're being nice. That's what I felt initially. I'm like, that's eye service now, you know. But first, there must be a relationship. Very key. There must be a relationship. And how do you build relationships? It's just showing I care and adding value to the other person. You know, one of the things we'll say is, what keeps you in the job is making your line manager look good. Don't let anybody tell you any other thing. That's your first job description. Your first task on your job description, make your line manager look good. I was talking to some youths a while back in the church, and I was telling them that, you see, when my line manager then, my line manager then was I was quite older than her, you know, but people didn't understand how we get along so well. So well. By then I had learned that doing that's good morning and you have to do it too. So it came to me because I understood. I wasn't doing it because, oh, you need to do it. I was doing it because I now understood why it was needed. So I was able to put it to good use. I knew the things she liked. In fact, some people say that I was a PA because I'll be the one to remember, oh, you have a flight. You're still here? Oh, no. It's time to get going. You know, so I'm busy packing some other things. You need this, you might need this, don't forget this. And that was just me being, you know, helping out, and I go back to my office. So, you know, if you do that once in a while, that person begins to rely on you. That, oh, Toyin, I'm going to do this, you know, blah, 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 blah. Because she knows that once you're here, you'll be there to help her, you know, cover her back and close some gaps. So that's by then I had come to the point of understanding that it wasn't eye service really, it was what was needed. That person needed that at that point in time. And to be sincere, it really helped. So I was telling them that I said, when your boss tells you to jump, except it's something illegal or something against your values and beliefs, you don't say why, you say how high. How high do you want me to jump? I want you to jump. How high? Is it up here? But when he now begins to go against your values, your beliefs, your morals, and all that, you might go, I'm sorry, you know how to break it, or begin to make your other plans and all that. But if not, if you have a good rapport, if that boss says to you, jump, how high do you want me to jump? Should it reach the ceiling, or should it? Please, I keep saying it, office politics is not all negative. He has a part that he plays. How you tell yourself that that guy is playing office politics. See him, he's been promoted 2 times now. My dear, sit down now and ask yourself, what is he playing? How is he playing it? Find out, is he against my morals? What he's doing, are they against my beliefs? Is he doing anything wrong? Some of them might be, but you discover that some of them are not. They're not doing anything spectacular. They're just doing those things I've told you. That's just what it takes. Now, let's come to EI a bit as well too. What EI does for you, I was talking to some people, I think 2 years ago, we were doing knowledge sharing, and we're talking about managing your boss. I can talk very well on that topic because I've come from the point of when not knowing how to do it to the point of doing it very well. So I was sharing with them. I said, you see, when it comes to managing your boss, EI comes to play. You know why? In fact, I had like 2 or 3 slides on that particular presentation on EI, and they were wondering why I brought in EI. And I told them, I said, you see, you have to, one, be self-aware of yourself as a person. The things I do, the way I behave, how is it affecting others, and how is it even affecting me from moving up, from progressing as a person? That was a conversation I had with myself years ago. I told you, I'm like, I don't need love here. Let's do this work and get on with it. But I saw that it wasn't getting me anywhere. I was doing well. They would tell me, they said, in fact, you're the most qualified in the team. You're doing excellent work. And I was wondering, where is the bot? What's that bot coming in? Because when they see you, they just feel that you're being arrogant. They don't understand that you are just coming from the part of, no, let me mind my business. I don't want to be as if I'm, intervening in what's none of my business. I didn't understand. It's until I came to the realization that, madam, this thing is not working. You have to, it seems what they are seeing when they say attitude, I have to sit back and think, how you say I have a wrong attitude? Wait, there must be something wrong. And then I began to see that the way I was behaving was actually making them feel that, because, especially when you're knowledgeable, they begin to feel they're feeling arrogant. So I told myself, I said, it's not working. So one, that's where EI comes in. You have to be self-aware as an individual. What's the way I'm behaving, the things happening to me, what's going on, and all that. Then you have to be disciplined as a person. Because why I'm saying discipline is that so you don't begin to do the things that are against your own values and beliefs. A little compromise here, a little compromise there, and everything that you stand for crumbles before your face. So there must be a standard of, these are the things I won't compromise on. So no matter how the office politics is being played, this I won't do. This I definitely won't do. I won't do this. So when that happens, you know where you stand. So one, you're aware of yourself. I'm using the elements of EI to explain the self-awareness, self-regulation, and then you have to know how to motivate yourself. Don't always wait around for, the office politics might not go, even if you don't play it well, or if you play it well, it might not go your way at times. Buhari tried 4 times, Abby. Am I right? It might not go your way. Yeah, it did. It might not go your way the few times, but you take lessons from it, and then you motivate yourself again that I can do this. Because you see, to move up, you need to play office politics. So is it that you are playing it or not? You are not playing office politics. The office politics will play you, because office politics is present in every office environment. So if you are not playing it, it will play you. So why don't you be the one in control and play it to take the terms as much as you can? And how can you do it? Is all I've been talking about. How can you have a sponsor? But you must have a relationship with that sponsor. And how do you build relationships? Those are the examples I've been given since. And then one thing I usually draw on when I have the opportunity to talk to employees a lot is like, oh, madam, you're part of senior management. Can they do this? Can't MD do that? MD should be doing this. MD should be doing that, What I usually do? I take the pain to sit down with them. At times I might spend 30 minutes. And what I try to teach people, which is another aspect of EI, is empathy. It is very key. If you put yourself in other people's shoes, you might begin to see things from their perspective and understand where they're coming from. What did I do when I was telling you about, oh, it's lonely up there, oh, they don't have, they're not in the open office, they're just in the office alone and all that. What did I do? It's empathy. I begin to put myself in their shoes, in the shoes of the line manager. What if you're in that position, how would you feel? Nobody to talk to, except you have, like I said, a colleague that is a very good trainer. That's your own cadre at that level. If not, it's lonely. So I began to think about it, that it's true. And when I got to senior management, I experienced it. I did. Because there's certain things you can't share with some people because they're quite confidential, especially HR. They're so confidential. You can't. I tell people, I said there's some things I know that I'll go to the grave with that I can't share with anybody. Because I've had cases where I've shared it before. I have cases where somebody comes with a 2-month-old baby and wants to drop it in the office for the guy that has the baby, that the guy is cutting shows on her and she can't go on anymore. And here I am carrying a baby for almost 2 hours trying to intervene in my office. So there's some things that you can't, so you can't tell others. So it's up there, especially it's quite lonely. Maybe that's why you see a lot of HR people doing a lot more networking than other functions. Because you see the things you carry in your head and the secrets, you just need something to help you cool down. So you need that to be able to feel that, oh, we are going through such as well, oh, I'm going through this. You understand? So empathy really helps. So it's lonely up there. Let me not digress too much. It's lonely up there. So you have to realize that. So for your boss, when I sit down and talk to people, when I say I spend 30 minutes with them, just to tell them, okay, imagine if you're the one in this person's shoes and he's reporting to so. Remember, he's also reporting to somebody. And then the shareholders are also on his neck as well. And this is what you're faced with. What would you do? And then they begin to, I'll do. I'm like, so it's easy to say, but you see that you see that your tone changed immediately. I started giving you something to relate, something relatable that you can begin to understand, and they're like, oh yes, So empathy helps. Empathy helps. If you're here on this conversation, on this call, this Zoom meeting today, and you're having challenges with your boss, if you tried a lot of things and it's not helping, I think one of the things you should try is empathy. Try empathy with your boss. You might be shocked at what you would discover because you begin to put yourself in their shoes. They begin to, they answer to the shoulders, they answer way up there. There's a lot at stake for them than you as maybe an officer or a junior person or a senior officer. There's much more at stake for them. So when you begin to what's the word now? Practice empathy, get a clearer picture of what they are facing, and you begin to your dealings with them. It might help you dealing with them. So when they are upset at times, you need to understand why this person is upset. Because you might hear that, oh, he had just had a meeting with his boss, and you're like, okay, maybe it didn't go well. And then you look for ways where you can, help. You might not necessarily say, I know what you're going through, but some little things here and there just makes that person feel better. So that's why I'm talking about empathy. And then social skills. I'm going to talk on those 5 elements. Remember, I said self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Because why I'm saying social skills is, I remember one of the places I've worked, they were very big on team bonding. The company is very big on team bonding. I mean, I enjoy my own company. So when they say it's time to go to so place and they are saying it's club overnight, rule me out. In fact, when I wasn't married, Joe, those kind of people that is, I'm happy I was a triangular student in school, church, room, and lecture room. That was it for me. Yes, that was me. So you imagine how I was then. So you're now saying, go to club, I'm like, I'm going home. Or I managed to go to one of the events with them. Once they're moving to the one that is a nightclub, I've gone home, straight home. And somebody called me one day and said, Tony, you might not like it, but once in a while, just show your face there. It doesn't, because your presence there makes them remember you. Your presence there, some conversations will go on. That's why you hear what's going on and be able to play accordingly. So I remember when we had to send off one of our HR directors then, and we moved from cinema to dinner, from dinner to karaoke, from karaoke to nightclub. Yours truly, when I got home the next morning, my mom was outside the door, wondering that, where is this girl? Because when you are not that kind of person. I came home, I was reeking of cigarettes. In fact, when I got home, I just removed all my clothes that I wore. After I just went to have my bath straight. And I was like, this is what you go to do in the club. That's what you want to go to do in the club. But you see, whether I liked it or not, I had to adjust, because that was what that company was big on. And the nature of what was being sold there, whether you like it or not, it had to be at the clubs. So I told myself, whether I might not drink with you or I might not smoke with you, but you see my presence there. And then, there's some people that is at that level that they're losing up. So you begin to, share with them, banter, laugh, crack a joke and all that. And they're like, I saw this girl is quiet, she's knowledgeable, she's free, but they wouldn't know that if you didn't go for that event. So that's where social skills comes in. And I tell people, try to be versatile, try to read, it helps. Because when they bring up a conversation, I can chip in. It might not be something I practice, but because I read a lot, I can say one or two things about it and we laugh about it. And they're like, oh, so you know about it? Interesting. And I just smile. But because I've learned that it's very key for me to do that, it works for me. One of the things they teach in MBA, when I was having my EMBA at Lagos Business School, we had etiquette class. Yes, they'll teach you how to, whether it's fish fork, blah, 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 how to set the table, how when you finish eating, how you put your knife and fork so they know you're done, how you take people's complimentary card, where you put it into your card, you have a card holder, look at it, look at the person, smile, have a firm handshake, all those things were done. We're wondering, I remember the lady that taught us, a lot of people were like, this lady is psychedelic, the way she would go, you do this prim and proper, and I was laughing at you guys, but unconsciously, not unconsciously, then we didn't realize. But later on, when I had to go to a lot of dinners, at senior management level, when you had to do certain things, exchange cards, do all that, I began to see it play out. And I'm like, whoa, this is what we're being taught. And it's become part of my subconscious. So when I go somewhere, I eat, the way I'll put my cup, people are like, why did you do that? I said, I'm through that. That was what I was. In fact, I didn't realize I was doing it. But unconsciously, I started doing it. Like, you give me your card, I look at you, I look at the card, I carry a bit of conversation around the card and what you do. So when I see later, I remember who gave me this card. And right in front of you, I put it in my card holder for cards. So I don't just put it in, the back pocket of my bum somewhere and the person is feeling, So those are the things they taught us. So social skills are very important. So when they're thinking of, oh, Tony is due for a promotion and all that, the last time Tony went out with me, no, it was a disaster. She couldn't even say much. She was just quiet all through, the conversation, table manners, non-existent and all that. But you go out, I'm like, please, I want to go out again. Please, can you ask Tony to join me on this trip? Because Tony has something. Tony has learned the social skills that are needed for such settings. So Tony is the person they want to take along for that. So all this thing we are saying, office politics, that's it too. So they now take Tony today, they take Tony tomorrow. Hey, what is going on between Tony and MDO? It's true. But what you don't realize is that Tony is using EI to advantage. Tony is using the things she has learned to advantage. So tell me, you put Tony's picture up in the next talent review meeting, what do you think will happen? He's ticking the boxes. And they say Tony is due for a promotion. But they say, when they started going out for dinner, I said it to see what has happened. Now Tony is the one that they are promoted to this. But you didn't see what went on, behind. What Tony has just simply done was to apply EI, to apply what she knows. What I see a lot of people laughing here. But it's the truth. I like to use stories that we can relate to. So when you leave this meeting, you remember that, oh, she said this story and I had a good laugh. But that is what it's all about. Coach Lara, I can go on and on. It's 3:52. I just took at the time and like, but so that we can get, I like the fact, that's why I was like, yes, when you were able to, when you told me, said, office politics and PI. I'm like, a lot of people be wondering why, but I am a living example of it. So I can share a lot about it. I've tried to compress it as much as possible, but I hope that I've been able to pass the message across. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Toyin. Wow, that was so deep, relatable, and profound, I must admit. Thank you so much, Toyin. I mean, you gave your story in a very open and honest way. You said it all. Thank you for sharing, I mean, your flaws and the lessons and how it's also worked well for you. Thank you so much, sis. I mean, as you were sharing, I was just laughing, and I said to myself, yes, that's the whole essence of storytelling here, so that from your story, we can equally learn. And there's been a lot of comments in the chat box.
I saw them rolling in.
Thank you. Kemi says, study your boss, know what they want, and go out of your way to do it. Build a relationship with them. It keeps you sane, puts you in a good place with your boss, and gets the work done. Thank you for this great insight. That's from that's from Kemi. Larry says, know what makes them tick. What does that mean? So there's a quick question from Larry there. What makes them tick? What does that mean? You want to elaborate a bit on that?
I think I did. Probably Larry didn't join us, from the onset. What that means is that for everybody, there's something that that makes you happy. For example, if I know Coach Lara, I know Lara loves reading. So what do I do? And I know she loves dancing, and she's my so what do? I see a new song, and I'm like, oh, Coach, Lara, have you heard this song? It's nice. Why don't you check it on YouTube? And it's blah, 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 blah. Gradually, we start having a rapport. And I see a book somewhere, and I'm like, oh, it's a new book that just came out. It doesn't cost me much. It's probably 5,000 or 5,500. And I wrap it, and I'm just like, oh, I saw this and I thought of you. I know you like reading. That's all.
Best gift you can give me.
So that's it. That's all. You see Taiwo, I can see Taiwo on the call. You see Taiwo, and you're like, Taiwo loves to look good,
Yes,
she loves all those Ankara.
All those lovely colors.
Yes, so bright colors, peppering us. Buy her one, and she's wearing it the next Friday, and she's going, oh, it's Tony that got me this. That's all. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. Just know what they like. Study them, know what they like, then try to do it. It might not even be gifts. It might just be doing what they like. Some of them like in the morning. Some people, they like some bosses make their coffees themselves. But you know that this person loves coffee very early in the morning and she's coming in. So in the morning, you see that she's coming in so scattered and all that and things that, okay, what do you need me to do? Okay, should I just quickly make your coffee for you? You're not a errand girl. You just notice that she needs that help at that time. So it's just being sensitive, like I said, and being aware of what that person needs, even at that point in time, so that the gift you're giving or whatever you're doing is appropriate and meets that particular situation.
Okay, so there's a follow-on question to that question. It says, my question is, what if the line manager specifically spells this out, that you should not ask detailed about their family and not giving room for relationship building?
And don't do that.
They don't even want to have any sort of
then don't do it.
Do? Okay.
Then don't do it. Don't. But realize that if you study very carefully, there's still something that makes that boss.
Okay.
There's something. It might be your job. It might be you're doing your job well. Or like, okay, I finished my what you gave me to do. Is there anything you want me to add to it? I can take on more tasks. It might just be that. It's not stereotypes, it's not necessarily gifts, not necessarily asking about their family. It might even be your job. Just going the extra mile.
Awesome. Thank you. We have another comment from TDA. Thank you, Tony, for that expose on managing the boss. It is and still remains my number one KPI. So if seniors can also allude to that fact, that managing your boss should actually be your number one KPI, what are you waiting for? Hey, you've gotten the secret sauce to career success from our seniors in the house. Thank you, TDA, for that. And Larry equally states, yes, I have the same attitude to mind my work. I have grown with this over time from my previous workplace to my new company and role. It's really difficult changing. And I have about 17 years experience. Thank you so much. TD equally states that, okay, so there's a continuation to that chart from Larry. As you said, I see it is affecting me as well. Yeah, because I think one thing Larry might also need to look at is how he also adjusts to the culture of his new organization, relating that to Toy's story, where you also had to change based on the culture of the organization that you were working with. You need to sort of strike a balance. You can't just say this is me, and not try once in a while to create that rapport that aligns with the culture, as long as it aligns with your own personal values. Yes. I think Tony emphasized that a lot. Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you. Yeah, TDA equally states, I agree, Tony, empathy and great improvements on social skills is called common sense, street sense, and being tactful. Wow, thank you. Thanks, Rosalind. Some of us are still like that, work, church, home. I can relate with that. I'm like that as well. Thank you. Adebanke states, I remember I once had to meet my boss in a jamming bar to give reports. He offered me beer. Amazing social skills. So Adebanke did not conclude that gist. So did you take that beer? You didn't give us the concluding part of that gist. Oh, a lot of thank you messages coming in. Okay, so I have a question here from someone. Please, what of if you have studied your boss and he commences you and your I guess he comments you and your teams, but when other staff complain, he takes sides with them and come to tell you and still take sides with you. His behavior is quite confusing. How do you handle such boss?
And so, remember I said that office politics can be positive or negative. Some people actually play in such a negative way. Some people, there's a lot they say about divide and rule. This kind of people. Yes, they like to, they hear this, then they come to you, and some people will actually say, well, it was Lara that said that. But Lara said so. They do it as if they're saying it in person. But what they've actually done is to let you try to build, what's that word now? That must be you and Lara, so that you have an issue. And they are thinking, so is Lara that actually, did this, blah, 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 blah. It's intentional. Now, for that kind of boss, you have people like that. They have them in different places. It's now for you to begin to decide how you want to deal with that person. Let me give you a good example. One of the places I've worked, there's a particular person. He's so, when you say someone is so full of himself, oh, I've never experienced. So I've seen, but not at that level. He's so full of himself. But you see, like I told, when I say be empathic, it really helps. And maybe because of my coaching, I used to cancel before I started coaching. So I tell people that I don't see you, I see beyond, I see more. What's the word now? When you're talking, I'm not just listening to what you're saying, I'm listening to what you're not saying. Because what you're not saying is speaking to me louder than what you're saying. Your actions, your attitude and all that is telling me something. So, what I've discovered is that person has a very good heart. So when people are like, oh, he's so nice, I said, I'll be the first person to tell you that he has a very good heart. But I'll also be quick to tell you that he's one of the worst people you could work with. And I'll also be quick to tell you that he's also a victim himself, because nobody sets out to be that way. It's by virtue of the way events have played in their lives. It takes a bit of NLP, a bit of psychology understanding as well to be able to get to that level. So, and somebody was like, oh, we need to coach him. I said, yes, you may coach him. But I see that his nature is narcissistic and is like a narcissist person. So I said, you can talk to them, you can manage them, but you can't change them. That I know. So what did I start doing? Because I had that understanding, was no matter what he does, I don't get upset. No matter what he does, I don't get upset. He writes the emails that, if I show the email to something like, what? Blah, 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 and all that. I said, what did you do? I said, look at my response. So you don't come to their level. He doesn't know any better. if he knew better, he wouldn't do what he's doing. So don't stoop to that level. You be you. And the day you know you can't take it anymore, you take a walk. But while I'm still here, no, I won't let him get to me. So when he writes the mail and gets all upset and all that and all that, I just go, hello, hi, how are you? How's your day going? Okay, I see that you're still having, you might not understand. If I can come over to explain it to you, or we could have a chat and blah, blah, blah. And then you get there. The same person that sent that email, oh me, oh my, he's all charming. If they told you that it was one that sent that email to you, you'll be like, no. So you were lying, it's not the one. He's all charming. But I work with him because I know that I'm still working in that place. I knew I needed to work there, and I was still working there then, and work had to go on. I know the thing as well is that when you begin to do that, others are watching. I remember one day he had sent series of emails, and I was responding. He would do it again. I would respond. You meant to make me upset. I will respond in a calm way. So I think it got to a point in time, my line manager knew he had to wait in. So my line manager now sent an email. And knowing my line manager, oh, he doesn't send, he will give it to you, you know, that kind of person. But he sent the email in a very calm way. I read the email and I was like, huh? Is it from the same person I know? And you know what? When we now had a conversation later, I said, I noticed that you responded to him. He said, yes. I said, I was surprised the way you wrote. He said, Tony, you see the way you've responded. I won't come and start responding, anyhow. So invariably, the way I responded, my own line manager too had taken a cue from it. And then he began to see that truly this guy needs to, something needs to be. But if I had gone, every time he does, I go, he's come again, he's done this email, see the way he sent this email, I can't take it, I'll give it back to him, I'll do this, I'll do that. I've been there, it wasn't working. And they'll just be like, Tony, that means you're not matured, yes, you don't know how to handle, and you're HR, blah, blah, blah. That's the way the conversation will go. Not realizing that it's not me, he's that person at fault. I just told myself, Tony, as long as you're in this, and you decide to be here, then you have to learn to manage this. And that's what I did. Why I'm saying that is there'll be some people that you will try all you know, but it won't work because they're set in their ways. Yes, you try all you know, but what you tell yourself is, I would always rise above this person. I will not stoop to this person's level. And the day you know you can't take it anymore, please, that option is available. It is available. Start your plan B and leave. If you know you can't take it anymore and there's no other way out, please start making a plan B. But don't forget, you would always meet people like that. You would, and they will try to get to you. So you will be the one to tell yourself, I'll rise above this person and I'll not stoop to their level. But like we usually say, once it's affecting your psyche and it's affecting you mentally, and all that, I think it's better.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toyin, for that. That was powerful. So we have a question here from someone. I think you already covered it in your response. It says, how do you handle it when it backfires negatively? When you don't do these things, then it seems as an offense. How do you cope?
You want me to talk more on that, or?
Yeah, I think you already answered that.
Okay.
Thank you. So we have another question. For me, I've learned that you might need to go out of your comfort zone to adjust to social skills. All this, I don't like going out. I'm an introvert, must stop. Thank you, Adebanke. Same here too for me. Thank you. Wale Smart says, every manager needs help or assistance. Finding it out is a job that every subordinate must do. It is low-hanging fruit for connection and rapport with even the most difficult manager. Thank you so much, Wale. That's another powerful nugget from you there. What happens when you have a great relationship with your MD and got an offer in another organization which pays more than twice, and you need their recommendations? I have a question from someone in the chat box. Great relationship,
that doesn't want you to move on and make more money. That's a great relationship. It might be hard, Yes, let me give you an example. Yes, you're right. I've been in that situation twice. Twice I can remember very well. And in fact, I remember that when I had to break the news to my line manager then, we had an incident in the office, so we were together on the Saturday, and we had been there since the morning from 7 a.m. This was like 5 p.m. I was tired. In fact, I remember that I didn't eat until 3 or 4 p.m. And it was one Uber guy that I knew that quickly went and said, got me food, quickly sneaked into his car and ate that day. So it had been a long day. But all the while, I knew that I'd started the process and I knew that I was going to leave very soon. So she was like, oh, Tony, I know you're tired. Like, why don't you let us, go have some, she likes coffee. I said, okay, let's have some. I said, I don't do coffee. I said, okay, you might take a drink or a smoothie or something. I said, okay. So we went together. And for you to know the rapport we had, and she was really talking, blah, 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 and all that. And in my heart of hearts, I knew that it was time to move on. I was getting along with her, but it was getting to a point where I knew that this was taking a lot from me and it was time to move on. She might not understand that, but I knew in my heart that I needed to move on. So what did I do? I just started doing that. I think she was getting a hang of things, that the way things were going in the company, Tony might move on, she'll get better opportunities. So while we were talking, I just used the opportunity to chip in and just said, I might take a walk, the way things are going. I just started to chip it in, whether she got it or not, but I used that to chip it in. I know why I did that. I did it once or twice. It was so that when the time came for me to actually drop the letter, I'll be able to say, remember when the conversation we had that last time? That was what I was trying to say, but I knew it was very hard. So that was why I was trying to, break it to you gradually, But you see, despite doing that, when I dropped the letter, you had to see the reception, the behavior I got in the office. Oh, yes. Because I was meant to give 3 months notice, and I said I'll pay for 2 months, and I did 1 month. 1 month. So I worked for 1 month. That 1 month, it took the grace of God and maturity to survive that 1 month. I remember I got to a point that the very last week, I think I was going to leave. And I understood, because she was coming from a place of she didn't want me to go. But she didn't know how better to express it, than to just find fault in everything and do all that, I remember one day I just smiled and I told her, I said, I know, I know that you know that I know what you're doing, but I don't have many more days. Why don't you just let us end it well? So that when we see tomorrow, we can be like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? And all that. I said, and I don't know where we might meet tomorrow. I might need you, you might need me. Let's send it, in an amicable way. And then I had somebody senior in the system that she was related to. And, I told the person, I said, I have tried all I can, but please, I appreciate if you help me tell her that it's out of respect that I'm still here. So let's respect one another. And that senior person was like, Tony, you don't usually talk like this. I said, yes, I don't. But I think it's gotten to a point where I need to say this. Because one of the things that happened was that this line manager asked for us access to my email while I was still there. And then I noticed, but I didn't say anything. But when it got to head was when I noticed that she was responding to my emails and she wasn't in copy. So when somebody actually called me and said, Madam, I sent an email to you. She responded, but I didn't copy her. What's going on? I just went, I said, don't worry, I know what's going on. So it was at that point in time, actually, I'm leaving now. Let's kukuma anything. So I just told, I said, out of respect, please don't do that. Please don't. I'm about to leave. I've given you enough respect. In fact, I worked with you so well that people thought we were related. Please let not spoil it. Please don't, let's not spoil it. Oh, that you needed to do this because of this, because of that. I said, I've seen it play out with other staff. Don't do it with me, please. Don't. And that was it. So there are instances like that, that it would happen. But because of the way I handled it, I was still all smiles. I'll be saying my mind, but I was still all smiles. We met at, I was traveling once in 2019 and we met at the airport. We were on the queue together, about to, I think it was in Paris, and we're going on to London. So we're together. I just saw, I said, hello, hi, she shouted, and all that. And I just smiled. But life was on.
Don't burn bridges. Wow. Thank you so much, Tony. Wow, we're out of our time already. Last
Yes.
question from someone here. How does one have a relationship with your boss and not come across as notice me or high service? I think a couple of your
I think we
earlier
started
points
with that.
already covered that. Yes,
Mm.
yes. Okay, so thank you. A couple of comments here. For me, going the extra mile helped me transition from a contractor to a full-time employee. Thank you so much, Idris, for that. Temitope equally states, my boss once advised that I changed my mindset from thinking of it as office politics to stakeholders management. Really changed my perspective and feels more positive now. Thank you so much, Temitope, for sharing that. TDA states, also stop talking about your boss to others. They always find a way to hear. That is so true. That is really true. Ensure that whatever you're saying, make them look good. Stop making your bosses look bad to people. Thank you. Elizabeth says, my strategy is to holistically look at every situation. This helps me not to take things personally, find excuses for other people's actions. Thank you. DVD states you don't do coffee. I think that was a response to your earlier comment. Thank you so much. So we have a last question here from Harry. Someone who had barely spent 6 months in an organization and has built a strong relationship with the line manager. All of a sudden, an offer came which would require the employee to leave the country and, of course, a bigger salary. What would you advise? I think that's
Leave
just the
now.
last question.
Leave.
Yeah. your umbilical cord is not in that company. I'm so sorry.
Life goes on now. But just try to leave on a good note as much
on a
as
good note, and don't
possible.
burn bridges. Yes.
Yes, try
Wow.
to leave. And another thing you can do, let me quickly chip in, is even after you've left, they'll still be upset. But after you've left, after a while, when you feel that things have died down with it, try to reach out again. And just I thought of you, remember working with you was, I enjoyed working with you, and I hope that everything is well. I would like us, just reach out much later when you feel that things have calmed down a bit. Yes, so that you don't burn that bridge, because you don't know. They said we're 6 degrees of relationship away, so please let's beware of that.
Wow, thank you so much, Tony. It's been an interesting 1 hour and 15 minutes, fully loaded with lots of wisdom. Thank you for sharing your story, your authentic story with every one of us. Thank you so much. I mean, everyone can attest to the fact that it's been a time where we've all had to learn so much from Toyin's story, how she's been able to navigate the workplace with superpower skills of one, emotional intelligence, and office politics, like Temitope states, stakeholders management in code. Fantastic. Thank you. And so we are really grateful. Thank you so much for your time. For people who might want to read other stories of successful HR people, please feel free to reach out to on your screen. I have my contact details for my HR Storybook. Feel free to grab a copy so you can also read other stories of people who have transitioned from either one career to the other, who have equally grown in their career in my HR Storybook. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know if anyone from the audience wants to say the vote of thanks. Anyone from the audience? It's been an interesting learning. Some people are still joining. Anyone wants to go ahead and say the vote of thanks to Toyin? Anyone? Feel free to go off mute and please share your vote of thanks. Anyone in the house? Okay, Bingpe's hand is up. Okay, Bingpe, please go
ahead. Is anyone taking that already?
Yes, Bingpe has. Bingpe, sorry, Harry. Bingpe, please go on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to say a very big thank you to you. We really learned a lot, and it was a very interesting session. Thank you for the knowledge you've impacted on how to deal with it, because like me, like you said, I don't know how to do office politics. And I get really upset when I see people playing office politics, but I think I learned a lot today. Thank you so much.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Toyaya, once again. It's so good to see you. Sis, you're already glowing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Please enjoy the rest of your day and have a productive week. Before you go, just sit back and relax and just listen to some music. You know me,
And
I
dance.
already said it. I mean, dance. I can dance for Africa.